Hi, and welcome to the Goalkeepers Podcast. Today we have Coach Tony Vu from Florida ODP and a host of other things. Coach Tony keeps busy. Coach, tell us, obviously you're in Florida, but what do you do? Who are you? And where do you train? And tell us all about you.
Sure. Um, my name is Tony Vu from Gainesville, Florida. That's where I currently reside. I have been the director of goalkeeping for Legacy Soccer Academy in Gainesville for the past 10 years. And also worked for ODP for the last 7 years. So I really enjoy giving back and helping the next generation of goalkeepers get to that next level. That's my why for being a coach. Looking into maybe getting into the college coaching world eventually. So that's what I'm looking forward to, and trying to get all my ducks in order for that process. So looking forward to that. So I've always been in the club and youth stages, I guess. So looking to help at that next level.
No, that's great, and I think for me personally, um, I like the career path, and I like the manifestation of you wanting to move on to coaching in college. So I wish you luck with that.
Thank you.
And what I'm wondering is how have you developed that over the course of your career, right? As far as how does that develop for a coach? I briefly I could tell you I went from coaching to a technical director, and now I'm more on a admin director role. So there's certain progressions you go through. So I'm wondering what that progression was like for you, going from club, you have your own academy, ODP, to now possibly going into college.
Sure. Starting out, I was a volunteer goalkeeper coach for our club. Had a little trial, I guess. Did well enough. I had previously worked with goalkeepers at my local club back home in high school, so that was kind of a good test for me. And the goalkeeper improved. So later on, I wanted to get back into coaching. Um, and Legacy has given me all the time and patience to learn and grow as a person and also a coach. So I'm very grateful for that. Um, and then just trying to develop kids, goalkeepers from the age of 8, 9, 10, and all the way up to 18, 19, and seeing them go to play Division 1 soccer, Division 2, Division 3, NAIA, JUCO. So that helped me gain more confidence into getting to ODP and helping the goalkeepers on a state level. And it just progressed from there. Was able to help more keepers get into college. Um, it's funny enough, I tried out for ODP one time as a kid, and I didn't make it. I never learned my defenders' names. I was just really nervous. So this time around, as a coach, um, I really take to heart when I see goalkeepers down. Their body language is poor. Just give them some encouragement, give them some tips to improve, maybe for that sequence or that session, or for that year. So just being there for the goalkeepers. It's a very lonely position, as we all know, and it's great when someone has played it and is willing to help you out. To get you more comfortable and get you more noticed, and most importantly, more confident as a goalkeeper. So, this past year, I had a goalkeeper commit to Boston University for next year. I just wanted to test the waters, and I think I've gained enough experience now to, help out at the next level in college.
Yeah, and I think that's important for not only coaches to hear, but goalkeepers as well, right? To just so they can know what that path could potentially look like down the road if that's something that they wanted to do. And I know for me, there's different paths, and we had this conversation in the group chat a couple of days ago about how to progress and how to get involved. I know for me personally, there's a lot of coaching education that needed to happen. There was a lot of networking that needs to happen. But I think that in your case, from what I'm listening to, is there's a very clear, defined reason as to why you do what you do, and what that looks like at the next level for you. So yeah, congratulations. And obviously you're doing something right. You're coaching at a very high level, and I have no doubt that you'll be coaching college soon.
Sure. Appreciate it.
So now, what is your presentation on this weekend, and what do we have to look forward to?
Sure. Our topic with Coach Bailey is game day versus training communication and understanding your teammates. In last night's presentation, I know Coach Tom and Coach Dave had touched upon the understanding your teammates, and it was a wonderful presentation. And I know that all the goalkeepers were very engaged in that. So looking forward to next week's presentation to build off of that and expand. Game day versus training communication. I wanted to be involved in this because it's two different things on game day and practice. You have more time in practice to fail and to learn and to make adjustments. And then game day, you don't have as much time to communicate with your teammates. So maybe during a water break or before the match starts, you get your defender, your back lines together. Hey, this is what I want. When this happens, make sure you look for me outside the box on a back pass, or any of those situations. Halftime, even stoppages, just giving little specific information can help in that moment. And then in practice, of course, you have more time to talk and discuss different ways of how to approach a situation. Asking the goalkeepers questions. How could you have done it this way? Or if you had communicated to your left back, could he have gone out to deny the cross, or those situations. And also for the players and the goalkeepers to get that chemistry together on the field, to make it easier on the game days, to effectively communicate. On game days, teammates and goalkeepers should know what we do, because during practice, those 3-4 days before, you've been working on that for the game. So it shouldn't be a surprise on game days. Communicating or understanding where the coach wants you in relation to the ball or off the ball. That should be taken care of during the week.
Now, so there's going to be different levels of communication between like a U13 player and a U18, U19 player. So what are maybe one of those very simple things that we can tell our youngest goalkeepers, maybe U11, U12, they're barely starting off, that they can communicate with their defensive line?
Sure.
What's one of those two, three things that we can say to them right off the bat? This is how you should communicate. This is what you need to communicate.
Sure. Simple communication as time or man on. When you're deciding who to pass to, what the best option is, you want to make sure they complete. The next person is able to complete the second pass. Meaning, when you roll the ball out to your defender, or you pass the ball out to your defender, can they make that next pass successfully to the next teammate? So taking time to recognize those situations. Do we want to pass when our teammate has a man on them? Or, when do we need to get our defender wide away from pressure to create space to roll a ball out to them so they have time to look up and time to pass to the next player? I think time in on those little simple commands, and then helping out the next pass. Johnny, get wide, or Michael, drop. So those are the commands I use with our U10s through U12s. Like on throw-ins, for example, if the center back is stepping too high and not giving depth for a back pass option, you want to communicate to the goalkeeper to tell that defender to drop. And then maybe we're able to switch the ball. So I think the earlier that we can help figure out how to communicate effectively with our teammates, with the goalkeepers, it'll help them later on to be more comfortable to communicate. Because as Coach Tom said last night, it takes time, it takes years to able to learn how to communicate effectively with your teammates. And he had touched upon understanding your teammates, meaning what's their strengths, what's their weaknesses, who can you roll a ball out, or who can you pass the ball out to, or who needs more encouragement when you're rolling it out. Time, look up, you have space. So those little things. Also understanding different personalities on your team, and egos. For example, we had a goalkeeper U12 yell at another player because he wasn't where he needed to be. The head coach pulled the player to the side, said, how can you effectively communicate better? Would you want to be screamed at or yelled at by your teammate? And he thought about it and said, no, you're right, coach. No, I wouldn't. Then he went over and apologized, and then they were able to kind of work it out. Well, when you're here, when you're closer to the defender, I need you to drop off a little bit more away, or just discussing in that moment.
Yeah, and the couple of things that I so and this is tough because for me at least, being able to convey that message to the kids, right, that there is a learning curve, and this is why sports are so important. You have to understand the different personalities and the different qualities
Mm-hmm.
of people, right? So for
Yes.
example, there are people you're going to be able to communicate a little bit harsher with and more consistently, and they thrive on that. Like that's
Yes.
okay, like that's exactly what they need.
Yes.
That might be your right back. Your left back may not need that. Your left
Yeah.
back,
Exactly. More
you may,
encouragement, or more help beforehand. Yeah.
and your left back may shut down because that communication isn't what they need. They need something different. And you're right. It could be encouragement. It could just be a simple command.
Yep.
And as a 12, 13, 14-year-old goalkeeper, that's a very difficult skill to acquire, right?
Yes.
And that's why it's so important as a goalkeeper to start to develop those good habits of communication,
Mm-hmm.
and even some like keywords, right? And you don't have to develop a dictionary of words, right? If
No.
you can just develop like 5 or 6 words, and those 5 or 6 words get you out of trouble, get you out of jams, and now your defenders and your midfielders know what those words mean.
Yep.
And again, this is on the coach, right?
Yeah.
This is on the coach as well.
Exactly.
But the 5 to 10 words that are super key, um, that could be in the goalkeeper's vocabulary, and maybe those are the only 10 words that he or she says during the game.
Mm-hmm.
But now that everybody understands what they mean, would be very helpful in that communication bit. Now, with the other part too, as far as because there's different styles of play, there's different systems. Sometimes you're playing with 3 in the back, sometimes you're playing with 2. So the function are different, the demands are different. If you're playing with 2 in the back, do you really want them to spread out and now you're playing wide? Not necessarily. Maybe you want to keep them inside and then drag, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But for the youngest ones to be able to recognize all those different wrinkles, it's a very difficult thing.
It is, yeah, especially with the speed of play. You're dealing with that and organizing in chaos. So, yeah, it's very tough. Um,
So how does a goalkeeper help their team in that aspect? Because the old saying is, well, the goalkeeper sees everything, and it's true. We see everything. But now, how does a goalkeeper react and look at those wrinkles and say, okay, this is how this is changing, and let's figure this out. And now that next level of communication needs to happen.
Sure. I think being a calming presence on the field for our teammates. Coach Tom and Dave had touched upon this last night too in the presentation. Um, you want to be that calming presence for them. So, if they are stressed on the field or they take a bad touch because they're nervous, someone's closing them down. You want to call their name, maybe just say, "Hey, relax," take a deep breath, or you'll get the next one. So that's another way of being encouraging to them to look to the next play and not dwell on that last play that they had messed up on or lost possession or something. Conveying that to goalkeepers, if they make one mistake, everybody sees it. But if our midfielder mistraps the ball, they'll get more opportunities. Or if a striker misses the goal or misses the goal a lot, but scores once, that's all that matters. So our position is really heavily critiqued. So I think being able to deal with all that pressure on us and be able to transfer that energy into being calm really helps our team. And like you said earlier, if a teammate needs one or two words, or a command, 1 to 2 words command to kind of get them reset and get them focused again, I think that's the most important thing, to able to get our team balanced again and focused on the task.
Yeah, I think our job as coaches is to make things easier and to make things digestible for the players. Just again, breaking stuff down, and we can speak jargon and speak into ridiculous depths of information that the players cannot and should not. And it's about how we can communicate that to our players and make it a lot easier for them. And I think that's what we do with these presentations on the weekends, where now we're simplifying the language, we're simplifying the situations, and we're breaking down the different moments of the game. And that's really important, especially in a position where it's like you literally have a split second to make a decision,
Yeah,
um, to make that play. So now, and how does it change? Because how does it change from game day to, or from practice to game day? How does the way you communicate during practice translate to how you communicate in games, and how should you act in practice so it translates to games?
sure. I think having the head coach and also the director of goalkeeping uh, speak together and say, this is what I had told Peter, as the goalkeeper. When he communicates to the left back, he needs to tell him this command. So I think getting the head coaches on the same page on game days, when starting in training, but when they get to the game day, they can effectively communicate to the goalkeeper what the coach had conveyed to them. You know, uh, remember, remember when your left back is on the left side, but the ball is on the right side. Make sure your left back is tucked in closer to your center back. So make sure we're staying more compact. Um, so if a head coach can recognize that and communicate to the goalie, he or she already knows what to do, but maybe just be reminded in that moment again. So I think being on the same page with the head coaches and players can really help. And there's also different ways of communicating, different phrases. Um, some verbiage maybe from England or from the U.S. So growing up, there may be different styles of communicating. Um, and then, for example, say a player gets to ODP and uses this different verbiage that other players had not heard. they may not be able to grasp and relay that message right away, or that command right away. So I think before the game or in training, we need to really get to, okay, this is what we need to say, or expect the goalkeeper to say this in this moment. So, but I think if we can practice more specific commands in practice, it's going to translate better to the games. And I think the more often that we communicate, the more our field players will internalize that message or that command, and be more automatic on game days to do their job. The biggest for our club, the biggest thing is when the ball gets cleared out of the box, there's not enough urgency to step up and close that open.
Oh, we might have lost Tony here for a second.
Outside the 18. Hey, you got me?
Yep, we're good.
Okay. I think my battery's running low. I need to get my.
It's all good.
All right. I got 3%. So yeah, so communicating effectively during training. All
right. I think we lost you again there, Tony. I don't know if you can hear me or not. But yeah, I mean, essentially, this is there you go.
right.
There we go.
Let me get my charger.
Go ahead. Yeah, and so I think Tony was speaking to the importance of the sequence of communication, right? How you go and you sequence and you make sure that there's alignment between the technical directors, the goalkeeper coaches, and the head coach of that particular team. Because if there is an alignment and now the players go from team to team or club to club, it becomes very difficult to make that transition. And then also the players have to recognize that if they do go like from either from club to club or even from club to ODP, that there is going to be a small transition where they are going to have to explain to the players what it is that they are needing to do, right? What that moment looks like and what they are going to say in certain moments. And when that ends up happening is if you're able to practice that or tell them that before training or before a game, it makes it a lot easier when we're in a game. So he's back. There we go. You're back. Okay. There we go. Are you there?
So yeah, so like you were just saying.
Oh, you're popping in and out there.
About going from club to ODP. You see me?
Yes.
All right.
You're cutting in and out. There you go.
Okay. So like you were saying about going from club to ODP atmosphere or environment, you're collaborating with different skill levels of players that may not know your commands at your club, or may not have been taught at their club what to say, or how a goalkeeper should talk to or command the field players. And in our case, in Florida ODP, some of our more technical goalkeepers get frustrated with the level of players that they see that they play with. So they need to understand the personality. So during breaks at training or stoppages, I would tell them, hey, your left back may need more encouragement because they may have not practiced this command. Getting wide when we're in possession and we get the ball and we're looking to distribute it. We want to make sure our left back is wide. So we have to do that early and anticipate anticipate basically, the strengths and weaknesses of each position. And then when someone gets subbed on or off, then we kind of have to rethink. Okay, this player, they don't need as more encouragement. I can be more firm or be more direct with them, and kind of get that out of them. So, yeah, I think if young goalkeepers can understand who are they playing with and the skill level, and understanding that they need to, maybe, effectively communicate, in a way that the field player understands.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the other point too, right? Because we can speak one language as goalkeepers, and then the field players are gonna speak a whole different language. So, Coach Tony, thank you for coming on. I appreciate your time, and we look forward to your presentation this weekend. And what time is that presentation?
It's going to be this Sunday, I think the 16th.
Yep.
It for the youngers, I think 2009 and younger will be 6:30, and usually runs for an hour. But the more engagement that we get, it runs over, so that's great. The more questions that we get, or the more comments that we get, we love. And it shows that the goalkeepers are engaged, and they're willing to participate. And then the older age group, 2008 and older, will be from 8 o'clock, and usually runs about 9:15.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, and looking forward to that presentation. And we will catch you next time. Thank you, Coach Tony.
Thanks, Coach Hart.